Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. It's that time of the week where I go over my NFL predictions for the week. So let's get started with Thursday night's football game night between the Cowboys, who are 5.5 point favorites, and the Giants. This is now or never for the Cowboys. If they can't rebound against the Giants, then their season's over already. The main problem with the Cowboys is their defense is specifically getting up a lot of rushing yards. Now, I don't anticipate that being a problem with Devin Singletary as a running back. So for the Cowboys, the only thing you really have to do on defense is just slow down Malik Neighbors. If the Cowboys could defend him, then hopefully the offense takes their early lead like they did against Cleveland, and then they could just pin their ears back and rush the passer like they don't really do. I assume that's what will happen, so I have Dallas winning 20-16. Next, you got the Broncos versus the Jets, who are 7.5 point favorites. I know the Broncos dominated the Buccaneers last week. However, this is a tough spot for them. The Jets defense will play better than the Bucs defense for starters. Then you take into the fact that the Broncos had to be out east for 2 weekends in a row now. Then there's the fact that the Jets having longer layoff time since they played on Thursday Night Football last week. So I doubt the Broncos can perform and do the same thing they did last week to get the win. So therefore, I have the Jets winning 24-13. Next, you got the Vikings versus the Packers, and 2.5 point favorites. This game's very interesting. I know Malik Willis has been playing well in his 2 starts at quarterback, but the Colts don't have a great defense, and the Titans are the Titans. So Willis playing against a great Vikings defense may sound like a lot to ask for. So if Jordan Love starts for the Packers, then I'll pick them to win this game. If not, then I'll pick the Vikings. But my prediction is that Love will play, so therefore I have the Packers winning 20-17. Next, you got the Saints versus the Falcons, who are 1.5 point favorites. This is another interesting divisional battle. Both teams are suffering injuries. Like with the Saints, Taysom Hill was out against Philly, and as soon as their center Eric McCoy went down a couple plays in, everything about their offense completely changed. And same for the Falcons in their Sunday football game. They lost 2 offensive linemen, including their center, to injury, and the offensive line didn't like a steady. So that's going to be interesting to see who can overcome the offensive line injuries there. I feel like the Saints offense coordinator Clint Kubiak will have a better game plan than he did last week, but I feel like the Falcons just have too many weapons for the Saints to stop. Therefore, I see Atlanta surviving at home to get a big win, and I have them winning 19-17. Next, you got the Eagles, who are 2.5 point favorites, versus the Buccaneers. This game is hard to figure out, in my opinion. As fans saw last week, the Bucs' defense is not the same with some key pieces out. On the Phillies side, they might have star receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both out. I know Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert was a 2-man show last week and got the jump in, but I doubt both will go off 2 weeks in a row. So the key for the Eagles is their pass rush. They finally showed last week that they had one, since the Buccaneers' offensive line has been having issues. If they can get to the quarterback, then they can expose the Buccaneers' offensive line and get revenge on Tampa, who knocked them out of the playoffs last year. I have Philly winning 20-14. Next, you got the Bengals, who are 4.5 point favorites versus the Panthers. The Bengals are in desperation mode. Only one team has made the playoffs after an 0-4 start to the season, which is the 1990 Chargers. The Bengals lost one of their starting tackles for the season as well, which is not ideal. But other than that, the offense has been doing great for the most part. It's just their defense has been the main issue. And as fans went this last week, Panthers quarterback Andy Dalton, former Bengals quarterback, he can go off and get points and yards if you're not playing well on defense. So knowing the defense was embarrassed on Monday Night Football, I assumed they'd come out with some pride and figure out a way to contain the Panthers well enough so they can get their first win of the season. I have the Bengals winning 27-23. Next, you got the Jaguars versus the Texans, who are 6.5 point favorites. Based on the preseason predictions, the Jaguars, to me, not only on paper but also on the field, just look like the most disappointing team so far this season. But if they could somehow upset the Texans here, then the whole new life is breathed into them, so to speak. This game will all come down to Joe Mixon, the Texans running back, because he wasn't healthy and didn't play last week, and we saw how big of a difference that made. So the question is, will that make a difference here if he doesn't play? I feel like it can, but I'm going to predict that Mixon will play, and I have Houston winning 23-16. Next, you got the Steelers, who are 2-point favorites versus the Colts. The Steelers' defense has been dominant so far, and I don't see why they can't continue against a very inconsistent quarterback in Anthony Richardson. I have Pittsburgh winning 20-13. Rams versus Bears are 2.5 point favorites. If the Bears were to stop their 2-game losing streak, this is the time that they need to do it. The Rams' defense is not good, and I doubt the Rams could put the same offensive fight that they did last week against the 49ers. However, since the Bears struggle to run the ball, that will keep the Rams' defense to avoid being in a shootout per se, and therefore I feel like the Rams can get the upset here. I have them winning 21-20. Next, you got the Commanders versus the Cardinals, who are 3-point favorites. The Commanders' offense has been rolling recently. Arizona's defense is nothing to write home about, so I can see the Commanders' offense continuing to excel. So then the question is, can Arizona outscore Washington to win, especially coming off a bad offensive game last week? I think the Cardinals do find a way to outscore them, and they win 30-28. Next, you got the Patriots versus the 49ers, who are 10-point favorites. I know the 49ers are banged up and are coming off a loss to a rival, but despite all that, and despite the Patriots having an extra time to prepare, the Patriots don't have all the offensive firepower to keep up with the 49ers in this game. So the 49ers should win. I have them winning 21-10. Browns versus Raiders are 1-point favorites. This is a hard game to predict. I know star power rusher Max Crosby was not 100% for the Raiders game last week, which led to the whole defense in general playing bad. If he could be healthy for this game, then that'll help out the struggling Raiders defense. It also helps that the Browns have some offensive line injuries. The other question is, on the other side, can the Browns offense do something against the Raiders defense? They've struggled to score over 18 points so far this season, which is bad. I think whoever can get to 20 plus in this game wins, and I think the Raiders quarterback Gardner Minshew has a bounce back game from last week, and they find a way to squeak out a win, either winning 19-17. Next, you got the Chargers, who are 8.5-point favorites versus the Chiefs, 8.5-point favorites versus the Chargers. There is a reason why the betting line is big. It's more likely than not that Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert will be out this game, although I've heard he's progressing well. But let's just say, even if he does play and he's not going to be 100%, and both tackles on the offensive line are going to be out for the Chargers. So I feel like this is a game that Chiefs should win. So I have them winning 23-10. Then for Sunday Night Football, you got the Bills versus the Ravens, or 2.5-point favorites. Since the game is in Baltimore, I would like to think the Ravens get a win here. However, I just don't like what I've been seeing from the Ravens defense. The Bills should be able to score easily. Then they'll be up to Baltimore to try to win in a shootout. While the Ravens are capable of doing that, I just feel like the Bills will be on their A game still, and they get the win 31-24. Then you got two Monday football games again. You got the Titans versus the Dolphins, who are 1-point favorites. I know it's dangerous to pick the Titans in a win, but I like them in this matchup. The Dolphins will be starting either Tyler Huntley, who's being elevated from the practice squad, or Tim Boyle, a quarterback. So if the Titans can't win against a third-string quarterback, then they may not win a game the rest of the season. This is their chance to get the win. So I have them winning 20-13. Last but not least, Seahawks versus the Lions are 3.5-point favorites. This is an interesting game. The Lions may be without their All-Pro center Frank Ragnow for the game, and if that's the case, then can they have the good run game still, since their offense needs a good run game in order to win games. Since the Seahawks have an easy road to 3-0, I feel like their luck's about to run out at some point. So I feel like despite the injuries, the Lions will find a way to win this game. I have Detroit winning 21-20. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel to learn about me. Thank you very much. You all have a wonderful day.